What's up everybody, Trinity here. So the other day I was watching a live stream over on the Den of Nerds Live where Josh had Rob from Comics Explained on his channel. Josh was discussing his upcoming comic book Unity that he is currently funding through Kickstarter. As of the recording of this video, it's got about $57,000 pledged of the $50,000 that they were looking for the campaign. So if you go back it on Kickstarter, which I should suggest that you do, there's a link down in the description of this video. Make sure that you go check it out if you haven't already. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty exciting book, and I like comic books. I like indie comic books, especially backing people over on Kickstarter. But regardless of all that, Josh was over there talking with Rob from Comics Explained about his comic book, kind of building up hype and making a push towards promoting his book so it could get funded. They did hit that funding goal during the stream, which was $50,000. So again, if you haven't backed it, you know, like even if you have backed it, don't worry at this point. It's made its funding goal, so Josh will get those funds released to him so they can get on with the production of this comic book, which has been in production for a little while and hopefully should be fulfilled hopefully within the next year. I believe he has fulfillment set for like August or September of next year, giving them time to get all the artwork done. It is going to be a graphic novel, and I thought, I don't know, I thought it was a pretty good stream, and the book is something I've been looking forward to. I've backed it myself. During this live stream, I actually seen somebody make a comment in the live stream, and in case you guys don't know, I am a mod over on the Den of Nerds Live channel, and I'm actually, you know, for the purposes of this video, I will say that I'm actually a mod over on Young Rippa 59's channel. You guys know Eric D. July. If you don't know him, you know, go check him out. He recently launched just last year his comic book universe and company called Rippaverse Comics. I'm wearing the hat right here. As of this point, he's had 2 campaigns roll out where he started a company. He's not doing crowdfunding or anything like that, but he does still run his campaigns for his ISOM books and the other books. Some of the other books he will be doing in a campaign style where they are kind of basically taking pre-orders and then releasing the books as they get you know, all the things ready for fulfillment on those. But I seen this comment the other day in this live stream that Josh was doing, and it's something I wanted to talk about in this video because I really feel it's something that we need to see less of in the comic book community, especially the indie comic books community, especially where we've got different creators who are making and building their own IPs, or, you know, however you want to see, their own franchises, if you will, of comic book characters and universes. Just this kind of comment, like, it got me kind of like, dude, like what is this? Where we've got this person trying to, I don't know, I guess make a comparison or cause some sort of unnecessary division. I really didn't understand the point of this comment. So this comment comes from an account on YouTube called Mr. Costa, and in this comment he said, Rippaverse is better than Unity, LOL. I don't really know where the comparison lies there. Unity hasn't even been released. Nobody's read it. As a matter of fact, you know, Josh is still working on it. I'm sure he has most of the script and everything ready to go, the dialogue, but for anybody to say this seems a little absurd. I seen it in the comments section and I was like, yeah, you know, whatever, I'll let it go. And then later this same guy commented, Rippaverse easily made it, LOL. Once again, like, I don't really see what the relevance of that is. For one, as I said, we don't really need any more division in any of these indie comic book creator spaces than there already is. I see plenty of this in the indie comic books like creator sphere that sometimes to me it kind of boggles me. I see some of these comments coming from people, just some of the interactions from some of the fans of these creators and even sometimes the creators themselves, sort of causing this unnecessary division. We're sitting here comparing Rippaverse to Unity and, you know, trying to get people riled up in the comments, which I don't really see what the point of that is. For one, Josh from the Den of Nerds hasn't ever went on some campaign against Young Rippa, Eric July, or the Rippaverse. As a matter of fact, as far as I know, he actually supported that first comic book and backed the campaign and got ISOM issue #1. And I've never seen Eric come after Josh over at the Den of Nerds for his comic book. And matter of fact, I've never even seen Eric July say to go out there, for anybody to go out there and sort of cause any kind of division between any kind of other creators or anything like that in the first place, as far as things like that. And I just seen this comment and I was just like, I'm not even scratching my head. I'm just like, obviously we're online, there's trolls everywhere and stuff like that, but to me, I see these kind of comments, I'm just sitting there kind of just like, I'm not even dumbfounded. What are you doing? You're making this comment on this live stream where a guy's trying to get his comic book funded, a guy who has no issues with the person that you're talking about with Eric July or anything like that, and has never called him out or anything. And you know, just like, I really don't understand where it comes from, where you're trying to even make the comparisons. Young Rippa, you know, obviously started his own company with Rippaverse and has had 2 very successful campaigns. Obviously, you know, Rippaverse is better than Unity. Like, you know, who even knows that? We don't even know until the book comes out. I mean, for all I know, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe Josh isn't as good a writer as Eric July. I don't know until I get to read the comic book. But then the other thing is even comparing, you know, the Rippaverse easily made its funding goal, what they were looking for their campaign, and which I don't really understand either, which kind of brings me to a point of something that Josh even talked about in this live stream with Rob, where he was talking about as he was funding this book and he's looking for $50,000 to on the Kickstarter to get this thing funded. He felt like it was a high number, which honestly it is. Most creators don't go for this high a number, especially newer creators. I think he's created a couple of campaigns before, back in the day when he used to do comic books. The thing is, he was talking about he kind of felt, not like a fraud, but kind of felt like he was line skipping because there are other creators who have been putting in work for years trying to gain traction and make this kind of money for campaigns. Even Rob in the live stream said like, oh, why would you feel that way? Don't feel that way. That's something I've talked about here on the channel before as well. Actually, one of Young Rippa's detractors talking about Eric July and the Rippaverse as well, about how, you know, it's kind of unfair that all these people are putting in all this footwork, and somebody like Eric July, or in this case Josh, comes in and just rounds up all this money for these funds for this comic book. Here's the thing, if you can build an audience and get them engaged and get them to support you, that's not easy to do. It's not on the fault of Josh or Eric July or anybody like that, anybody out there really that has leveraged what they have done with their career, whether that's building a YouTube channel, being popular on any other forms of social media, be it Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You got to utilize what you can. It's not easy to build up that kind of audience, get that kind of engagement from people to get them to go and back your book. Now, I know plenty of people will probably make the argument about Eric July, like, oh, he made this comic book to own the libs, things like that, you know, all the political stuff that he does, but that's really not the case. His comic book wasn't designed for that. It's still not easy to build that audience and get people to want to give you their hard-earned dollars for things like this. Just like I said with Josh, you know, he felt kind of the same way, like, oh, like he's line skipping. You really shouldn't feel that way just because you put in time building a platform that got people engaged, got people wanting to support you, and are willing to support you and the projects that you are doing. It's nothing that anybody out there should ever feel ashamed about, especially if there's somebody out there giving you a hard time. It's not your fault or anybody else's fault that other creators haven't been able to take and leverage their social media status or anything like that. To be honest with you, I think a lot of creators are kind of weird in that sense. Anybody out there who is a creator and knows creators, artistic people, know that, you know, for the most part, yeah, a lot of these people are weirdos. They have quirks and things like that that people will find weird and stuff like that. Look, it's nothing unusual. I think most creators are kind of fall into that. The thing is you take time to build that audience up to get people to invest in your stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, getting back into this kind of thing, I seen this comment and I'm just like I don't even know where this comes in at, this whole Rippaverse is better than Unity, Rippaverse easily made its goal. To make a long story short, I banned this asshole from the chat anyway. I booted his ass out. And as I said, I'm a mod over on Eric July's channel. I'm a mod on the Josh's channel at the Den of Nerds Live, and you know, I let a lot more shit slide during Young Rippa 59 streams than I do over on Josh's streams. The thing is, this is just really some unnecessary division trying to be caused by some dickhead out there behind, a keyboard unnecessarily. These creators aren't going after each other. Neither one of them's calling each other out. They're not trying to get in some contest to try to vie for their attention, or trying to say like, oh, I'm better than he is, or anything like that. I've never heard any of those words out of Eric July's mouth, out of Josh's mouth, saying that he's better than Eric July or anything like that whatsoever. So for me to see this, especially being kind of in this community, and the funniest thing is, like, because this happened on the Den of Nerds live channel, where in case this guy, obviously Mr. Costa, don't know, there's plenty of crossover there. There's plenty of nerd vengers like myself who are supporters of Eric July and Josh both. If you go to any of the live streams, any of the member streams, we've actually talked about the Rippaverse, Eric July and stuff like that before, where you could see, like in the chats, you can see there are people who are supporters of both. So to come out here and sort of cause this division, just this kind of comment is just wholly unnecessary, and something that we could stand to see less of in the comic book community between these creators and these different fandoms. I think there's a lot of crossover there. I think there's a lot of people who probably support Josh that support Eric July as well. And seeing this kind of stuff, like, I can't even say it makes me sick. It just makes me scoff at somebody's stupidity in thinking that, like, why would you even go to make that comment?